Welcome back to the channel. My name is Apple Crider, and 3 or more times a week, I make personal finance, entrepreneurship, credit card, investing related videos here on YouTube, and primarily at high school and college students. And if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know that I have a thing for credit cards. I'm really into credit cards for a couple of reasons, primarily for building my credit and saving a ridiculous amount of money in the long term when I start investing into real estate and buying my own primary residence. But also in that right now, what I can start doing is accumulating credit card reward points and accumulating, in my point of view, free travel. So that's the most exciting thing for me right in this very moment, because that's something that I can actually use. And personally, I've built up probably around $1,000 in free travel throughout my a little over a year of building credit. So in this video, I sort of wanted to share with you guys just the basics of accumulating credit card reward points and how it actually works, because I've been getting a lot of questions lately on sort of the basics of getting free travel like I've been talking about. And I realized that I didn't have a video on it. Like, I had a bunch of videos on like specific, like, this credit card's really good for this one's good for this, I just got this card, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't have a video that sort of like laid everything out and was sort of like, this is how it works, and these are the different options that you have. So that is what this video is meant to be. So what has been my experience with credit cards? Well, personally, I have I have 4 credit cards right now. I've got, the first one that I ever got was the US Bank Platinum card, which I upgraded to the US Bank Cash Plus card. I've got the Fidelity Visa Signature card. I've got the Chase Freedom and the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Those are my 4 credit cards right now, and I am going to be getting a 5th in the next probably month or 2. But for now, I've got 4, and through those 4 cards, I've accumulated, again, over $1,000 worth of credit card reward points. So I want to share with you guys sort of how I did that and how that really works. So again, I'm making this video because I've gotten the request a lot of times and I realized I didn't have a guide for it. So when it comes to credit card rewards, there's really 3 main types of quote unquote currencies that you can be accumulating, okay? The first one is cash back, and that's pretty much as straightforward as it sounds. That is just money that you are getting back for the money that you spend from your credit card company, okay? Second one is going to be miles, okay? And miles are, as they sound, usually used for travel. And I'm also lumping in hotel rewards here too. I'm calling miles anything that is used for travel. So again, anything that can be used for airlines or for booking like a hotel or something. And then lastly is points. And what points are essentially a currency that is transferable to either cashback or miles. That is how I classify things. That's how my brain sort of thinks about credit card rewards points, is that you can either have cashback, you can have miles, or you can have points that can go in either direction. But once you transfer those points out, they can't come back to points. Points are king, and then points can go to either way, okay? So, quick example. Say you have this card right here. This is one of my cards. This is the Chase Freedom card. And if you have the Chase Freedom card, what you are accumulating is points. You're accumulating Chase Ultimate Reward points. And what you can do with those points is you can transfer them to a host of their transfer partners. These could be airlines, these could be hotels, whatever. Or you can take it as straight cash back, okay? So you get the points on the card, and then you get to decide whether you want to just take that as cash or take that applied to a flight or a hotel. And see, the advantage, you might be thinking, like, why would you ever convert these points not into cash? Because cash can just be used for whatever. Like, you could use that cash to fly on a plane or to book a hotel or whatever. And what usually happens is when you take these points as airline miles, if you do it right, you can usually get more value from that than you would have if you had converted it into cash and then used the cash to book the flight, okay? So that's generally the thought behind why you would ever not choose cash, because usually the partners that partner up with the credit card company are going to incentivize you to convert into their currencies, because each of these different airlines, hotels, whatever, they have their own points currency as well, their own miles, whatever. So what you do with these points is you convert them into the miles from whatever airline, hotel, whatever, and that is, they incentivize that by making them worth more than if you would have just taken it as cash. Now, as far as accumulating these points go, there's really 2 main ways that you can do that. The first of which, and the most lucrative of which, is sign-up bonuses. So most credit cards that are worth getting are going to offer you a sign-up bonus if you meet a certain criteria. Now, usually this criteria looks something like, if you spend X amount of money in the first 90 days on this card, you are going to be rewarded with X number of points or Y number of miles or Z number of cashback, okay? So that's usually how a sign-up bonus looks. And these things can be very, very lucrative, okay? So for example, with the Chase Freedom Card, there was a sign-up bonus where if I was to spend $500 in the first 90 days of opening the card, I would receive 15,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points, which could either be translated into $150 worth of cash back or potentially up to $300 worth of travel, okay? And remember, so I spent $500 and I got up to $300 worth of benefits from that. So that's 60% cash back if we do the math really quick. And if you're familiar with credit cards at all, you know there's not a credit card that's going to offer you 60% cash back for your purchases. So sign-up bonuses are definitely going to be the way to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to credit card spending. I made an entire video on sign-up bonuses as well if you want to check that out. But just know that if you're looking for the big rewards, it's going to be through sign-up bonuses. Now, of course, there are cons to constantly applying for new credit cards, which I got into in that video. So definitely you don't want to go out there and just apply for every single credit card you can find and just get those sign-up bonuses. And again, when it comes to sign-up bonuses, you don't want to be spending money that you weren't already spending in the first place. A really good way to hit sign-up bonuses is if you have a business, an online business especially, is to funnel your business expenses through a business credit card in order to get those sign-up points. So again, if you have, say you have an Amazon FBA business and you do a lot of Facebook ads, then you could funnel all of that ad spend into credit cards, hit a bunch of sign-up bonuses, and get a ridiculous amount of free travel out of that. Now, I should have mentioned this earlier, but a quick disclaimer here. Anytime I'm talking about credit cards, the way I use credit cards and the way I recommend you and everybody to use credit cards is by spending money that you would have already spent and paying that card off on time every single month in full, okay? I never carry a balance. I have never paid a single dime of interest on a single credit card because I don't think that's a good use of my money, okay? Credit cards, on average, an average college student's credit card is going to charge 20% interest. That's absurd, okay? Paying 20% interest on something, paying 20% interest on an iPhone that you wanted to get, it's absurd, okay? If you pay the minimum payments only, it's going to take you A, like 5 years to pay off that new iPhone, and B, you're going to be paying an extra $600 for it. So let's not do that, okay, guys? Can you promise me that we're not going to do that and we're not going to rack up debt on credit cards? A, that just completely negates all of the bonuses that you would have been getting from these cards in the first place as far as travel goes. And B, it's just not going to be good for your financial health in general, okay? So there we go. We talked about sign-up bonuses. Now we're going to talk about the other way, which is just basic spending, okay? So with this Chase Freedom card that I showed you guys earlier, with this card, essentially the benefits and the way that I accumulate points with that after the sign-up bonus is it has rotating categories, which we're going to get into in a second. But essentially, there's certain vendors where if I spend money there, I'm going to get 5% of that money as cash back, or in this case, points onto my card. And all other vendors that aren't the specified vendors, I'm going to get 1% cash back and 1% points essentially on all of that. So again, that's not your 60% like you're getting in the sign-up bonus, but it is still pretty significant, okay? So your two options again are to get sign-up bonuses, or once you actually have the card, spending money on that card is going to reward you if it is a rewards credit card, which is what we're talking about. Now, last thing I want to talk about, there's really, in my vision, 3 types of rewards credit cards, okay? And those are your fixed category cards. So a fixed category card is something like the Amazon credit card, okay? It gives you 5% cash back on Amazon and Whole Foods, and that's it, okay? You always know that you use that card at Amazon and Whole Foods, and that's it. Now, opposed to those, there are actually rotating category cards like this Chase Freedom that I talked about earlier. And how those work is every quarter, Chase decides on a couple vendors, a couple categories of vendors that they are going to reward 5% cash back on, okay? So it rotates between things like wholesale clubs, grocery stores, Amazon.com, restaurants. I mean, really all of like the big categories of spending. Each month they'll pick 2 or 3 of those to give 5% cash back on, and the rest will just be 1%. So those cards, it takes a little bit more planning to sort of figure out where you're going to use them and which card you're going to spend where. But the fixed category cards, again, stuff like the Amazon card where you always know that you're going to use that card on Amazon. Lastly, we've got cards like this guy, our Chase Freedom Unlimited here. And with this card, it is just sort of like, I call it a catch-all card, because what you do with this is you get 1.5% points back on everything you spend, okay? So every single dollar that you spend, you are going to get 1.5 points on this card. Doesn't matter where you use it, doesn't matter anything. So this card is really, cards like this are really good for people who want to get rewarded, but they also don't want to have to take the time to think about like what card they're using everywhere. For those people, I definitely do recommend the sort of catch-all cards, because you don't have to think about it, you just use it and then you're good to go. And then within those sort of types of rewards cards, within your category, your fixed category, your rotating category, and your catch-all cards, there's also sort of tiers, and the Credit Shifu did a really good video on sort of like the credit card tiers, and I'm pretty in agreement with what he said in that video. But basically, there's sort of like your simple cards that you get starting out, and then you sort of move up the rungs to bigger and better credit cards as you go on. But I thought I would just give you guys this very basic overview of credit card rewards, just so that if you guys aren't familiar with how sort of like the system works, now you can sort of have a better understanding of how credit card reward points actually work, how to accumulate them, and just sort of how the, again, system works in general. So I hope you guys get a ton of value from this video. I know it's pretty basic, so for some of you guys who are like pretty experienced with credit cards, you might not have gotten a lot out of this video, but I appreciate you guys sticking around anyways. And if you enjoyed this video, you got some value out of it, please do consider subscribing down below and smashing that like button as well to let me know if you want to see more credit card videos like this going forward. Anyways, guys, thank you again for your time. My name is Apple Crider, and I will see you in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've got a free video training in the description below on how to start your own social media management agency. Check it out.